Ibn Hammam said, I resolved to depart from the city of Barqa, though its beauty had just begun to bloom. Yet I hesitated to leave before witnessing its day of celebration. When the day arrived in full splendor, with prayers both obligatory and voluntary, and the streets were filled with cavalry and crowds, I followed the sunnah by wearing new garments and went out like the others to join in the festivities. As the people gathered tightly in the prayer area and the crowd swelled to the point of suffocation, a strange old man appeared. He wore 2 coarse cloaks, his eyes hidden as if blind. He carried a small satchel and was led by a hideous old woman resembling a demon. He stopped with unsteady footing, greeted with a weak voice, and after finishing a whispered prayer, reached into his bag and drew out slips of paper, each one colored with different inks. He handed them to the old woman and instructed her to observe the crowd and look for generous souls. To anyone whose hand seemed giving, she would silently drop one of the slips. Fate, ever curious, brought one of those slips into my hands. I unfolded it and read, Now I am consumed by pain and fear, cheated by the cunning, betrayed by the dear. Friends turn cold, my efforts punished bold. Long I wander, poor and alone, remembered by none. Had time not robbed me of my children, I'd never chase dreams through dust and dominion. Were it not for the chains of hunger and pain, I'd not drag myself to rulers again. My only prayer is there a noble heart to share his shirt and save me from the dark. When I read the richness of the verse, I grew eager to know who composed it. My thoughts told me that the key was the old woman. So I watched her go from row to row, hand to hand, seeking aid, but all her effort bore no fruit. Eventually, discouraged and disappointed, she returned to the old man weeping, lamenting the cruelty of fate. He sighed, saying, There is no loyalty, no aid. The best are all the same as the worst. Trust is gone, help is lost. Rich or poor, what's the cost? He instructed her to count the slips again. She did, and found one missing. He cursed her for the loss and demanded to know how she failed. She frantically searched again and happened to pass near me. I stopped her, gave her a dirham and a piece of silver, and said, If you want the coin, tell me who wrote this verse. Tempted by the dirham, she gave in and said, The poet is a man from Saruji, the very one who wove that crafted verse. She snatched the dirham like a hawk and vanished like an arrow. I was now sure it was Abu Zayd. Moved with curiosity and pity, I wanted to confront him, but the crowded gathering kept me from pushing through, so I waited until the sermon ended. As the crowd dispersed, I hurried to him and studied his features beneath his shut eyelids. My instinct matched the sharpness of Ibn Abbas, my intuition the insight of Judge Ayas. I revealed myself to him, offered him a portion of my food, and invited him to my place. He accepted with joy, his hand in mine, and the old woman trailing behind. Once seated at my home, he asked, Is there a third person with us? I replied, Only the old woman. He chuckled. Then no secrets are hidden from her. He then opened his eyes, bright and shining like twin stars. I was overjoyed to see that his sight had returned. Surprised, I asked, Why did you pretend to be blind, wandering like that through crowds and alleys? Feigning ignorance at first, he finally smiled and recited, Since fate itself has blinded truth, I too played blind in youth. If life walks the path of the crooked, why not let the son walk as his father did? Then he asked me to go fetch him something to refresh his mouth, clean his hands, brighten his skin, and calm his breath. He described the perfect tooth powder and a fresh toothpick in such poetic detail that I admired his finesse. I went quickly to fulfill his request, but when I returned, in less time than it takes a breath to return, I found the place empty. The old man and the old woman had vanished without a trace. I burned with anger at his trickery and rushed after him, but it was as if he had sunk into the earth or soared into the heavens. Al-Hariri,